Yeah, halfway there, guys. Just finished week 5 out of 10 weeks, so you are halfway done with school from home. So I hope that you had a great weekend. I hope that you're getting ready to enjoy your 6th week of school. This week we're going to be looking at graphing rational functions, kind of throwing together a couple of the concepts that we've been learning over the past few weeks. If you're wondering about the hat, there have been a few people who have made some comments about the fact that I wear a hat in all my videos. It is because my hair sucks. It is because I haven't gotten to go get a haircut. So I have decided that from here on out, I will wear a different hat every week, and I will make it more and more annoying for those of you who like to make fun of my hats. So here you are. Quick congratulations to Naja from 6th period. Her video, which hopefully you saw on logarithms, was great. She was able to win some extra credit points and some cookies delivered to her house. You never know when I'll be doing something like that. I'm getting bored here, and I got to spend this paycheck somewhere because I can't go anywhere. So I'm willing to buy you guys cookies or pizza or whatever it is that you are wanting if you earn it with some great work. Got to be the best. Okay, let's talk about graphing rational functions. So I want to use this one as an example. I want to walk through this one a little bit, do some of the math that we have been doing for the previous, over the previous couple of weeks. And I want to talk about the some of the key attributes for these graphs. That's going to be a big piece of what we're doing is key attributes. Okay. Now, if you remember, key attributes are things like domain and range, any asymptotes that you might have, any x-intercepts, y-intercepts that you might have. Those are all key attributes. So we're going to be looking at that as we go forward with this lesson. Okay. Let's look at this particular function. All right. Last week we were simplifying things like this. So we're looking for an opportunity to maybe cancel something out from this fraction, see if we could make a number 1 that could cross out and go away, because we know that multiplying by a 1 doesn't change anything, so our goal here is to find a 1. All right, so last week you guys had lots of problems like this, and your job was to factor the bottom. Okay, so let's try that. We're going to factor the bottom, looking for numbers that multiply to give you -5, add to give you +4. So spoiler alert, I think that's going to be -1 times 5, right? -1 times 5 will be -5, and then -1 plus 5 will give us the +4. So that's going to be good. So when we factor this, the bottom is going to be x minus 1 and x plus 5. All right, so that is our function. That's what we're looking at. Well, that's what the bottom is going to be. So let's rewrite the whole function, but I'm going to replace the bottom with this factored form. So we're going to have 3 times x minus 1. I'm going to leave that like that because there's an x minus 1 right there. So that's going to cancel out nicely. Okay. All right, so I will show that step all together. So we've got 3 times x minus 1. That's our original numerator. Our factored denominator looks like this, x minus 1 times x plus 5. All right, so we have a nice thing that we can get rid of here. Okay, so we know that now our function is equal to 3 over x plus 5. Okay, so the function 3 over x plus 5 is a rational function because it has an x in the denominator. It means that we're going to have some discontinuity. It means that we're going to, whenever we're dividing by x, we know that the bottom cannot be equal to 0, so we're going to have a point of discontinuity here. So that's going to be one of the things we're going to talk about. Hopefully, when you guys did graphing rational functions on Desmos a couple of weeks ago, you realized that whenever you have your final function here, whatever this is going to create a vertical asymptote. It's going to create a vertical asymptote, all right, when it's equal to 0. All right, so let's set this equal to 0. So x plus 5, let's say that was going to be equal to 0. We want to figure out what number for x we can plug in. That's going to make this 0 because that's where our vertical asymptote is going to be. That's where we're going to have a vertical line where our graph is not going to exist. So let's go ahead and do that. So we will just subtract 5 from both sides, and so negative 5 is equal to x. So this right here is our vertical asymptote, x equals negative 5. That's a vertical asymptote, all right. The 3 is an a value, so it's going to sort of cause a compression, all right, or I'm sorry, an expansion of this graph. So let's go ahead and look at this on Desmos, all right. I'm going to go ahead and graph this. And if you just give me a second, I'm going to save some time on the video by doing just a little bit of magic, and we're going to go ahead and graph that. Okay, so we've got some stuff there already graphed for us. Sorry for the time skip there. So we've got f of x equals 3 over x plus 5. What you'll notice is that we do have a vertical asymptote here. Let me zoom in so we can see that just a little bit better. All right, we see that vertical asymptote happens here where x is equal to 5. Let me zoom back out there. So if we sort of light up that line, x equals negative 5, you'll see that that's sort of the line where our function never touches, right? We've got this function that is sort of down here to the left and on the bottom, and then we've got this other piece of the function that is coming from the top and going over to the right, but the function does not exist here, right? We talked about that 2 weeks ago when we originally talked about graphing rational functions. Okay, we also have a horizontal asymptote here. All right, so you can see that one. Let me turn off the blue one so you can see it a little better. It is difficult to see because what I'm turning on is y equals 0. So it's just turning the x-axis green. The x-axis was already bold for us, but that's just the x-axis. So you'll see it's an asymptote. We're not quite getting there on either end. Okay, so let's go ahead and write down some of these things here in our key attributes, right? So this has a vertical asymptote at x equals negative 5. It's also got a horizontal asymptote at y equals 0. Okay. Let's talk about x-intercepts. Because we have a horizontal asymptote here, we're not going to have an x-intercept because, so I'm going to put DNE, does not exist, is what that means, does not exist. So the reason I'm saying that it does not exist is because we have a horizontal asymptote here. The only time you're actually going to have one of those is when you move your function up by adding a number there. So you'll see that now we've got a x-intercept because we've added and moved it up. So that horizontal asymptote moved up to 3, and so now it sort of opens up for an x-intercept. So there are going to be quite a few on your homework and stuff where if there's not something added at the end, you're not going to see an x-intercept, but sometimes you'll have one. Okay. So we've got a vertical asymptote, we've got a horizontal asymptote, we've got an x-intercept. We do have a y-intercept that we could look at. It's not really a significant point, but that's what our function would be equal to if x was equal to 0. Y would be 3 over 5, right? Because 0 here, right? If we put in a 0 right here, so our y-intercept would be f of x equals 3 over 0 plus 5, right? So that's just going to be 3 over 5. So that's our y-intercept, okay? Now, we don't usually care about the y-intercept too much. Now let's talk about something else that actually, there is another point of discontinuity on this graph, but it doesn't show up on this function, right? It's not going to show up in our final function. But what I want to do really quick, and if you give me a minute, I'm going to do some changing to our Desmos screen. I'm going to put the original problem, our original function right here, I'm going to put that into Desmos, and I want to see what the graph looks like, right? Because when we simplified, we shouldn't have changed the function, so we shouldn't have changed any of the values, so our graph should be exactly the same. But let's see what happens. So give me a second here to put that in on Desmos. Okay, so there is our new function here. So I'm going to go ahead and turn that on. You'll notice our old function is here in red, right? This is our simplified version. Now let's see what happens here when I turn on the normal version, right? So look, it's pretty much the same graph. Okay, it's pretty much the same graph. Now, the problem is this original function actually has one place where the value is different than the simplified function, okay? And where that value is going to be different is when that element that we simplified out, the thing that we took out, when that expression is equal to 0, this function, our new function, exists, but our old function is not going to exist because if that if x minus 1, that thing that we took out, if that's equal to 0, the bottom is equal to 0, and so our function is undefined, right? So let's take a quick look at what that looks like on the graph. All right, so the way that I'm going to do that is I'm going to zoom in, right? So let's first look at that here on that paper. All right, so what we had was this this x minus 1 that got taken out. So it exists in the original function, which is what we're graphing, right? So we sort of have to take this into consideration. That x minus 1 exists here in this function. It's on the top and it's also on the bottom, right? Because when we factored, that piece was in there. We took that out and we're left with just the x plus 5. So this x minus 1 is part of that original function, right? So when x minus 1 is equal to 0, when that sort of parenthetical, that expression is equal to 0, that's going to be when x is equal to 1. Okay, so let's look at our function when x is equal to 1 and see if anything interesting is happening on the graph. All right, so it looks like, okay, here's where x is equal to 1. My simplified graph, the red one that we're looking at, okay, the simplified graph exists here, and it says that at when x is 1, y is 1/2, or 0.5. Okay, now let's look at that same point, but on the g of x graph, this original one, which remember is the one that we're graphing. So this is the one that we sort of care about. And if I can get there exactly, look, there it is, right there. When x is equal to 1, y is undefined, right? Now it only happens right there at that spot, and you can't see it no matter how much you zoom in. You can't see what's actually happening there at that individual point, because the the graphing calculator function won't let us look at that, because all the little points leading up to it do exist. The little 0.1s, right? The little 0.01 more than 1, right? That all has a y value. But right there when x is equal to 1, our y is undefined, right? So add this to your notes. What we call that is a hole. It creates a hole in the graph. It creates a hole in the graph. So, and that hole is going to be at x equals 1, but we can go ahead and put in the value exactly where it is. It's at 1, and then my y value is 0.5, because that's where that other function exists, right? That's where my new function exists. So I know exactly where that hole is. There is a hole right there on the graph. When x is equal to 1, y does not exist, meaning we don't have a point. Okay, now I do want to show you a quick sketch of this just so we can kind of see it. All right, so because on your homework you're going to have to sketch some graphs. All right, so if we sort of look at a graph here, okay, so so our function was f of x was equal to 3 times x minus 1 over x squared plus 4x minus 5. Okay. So we found that there was a horizontal asymptote here. There's a vertical asymptote at x equals 1, 2, 3, 4, -5, right? So I can kind of put that in just as a little dotted line, just to show that I know that that's an asymptote, all right? And then I've got this hole that exists right here at 1, and then 1/2. So I'm actually going to put the hole there, right? And then from there I can kind of sketch the rest of the graph, okay? So this is what I'm looking for when you guys are sketching these graphs. This is what I'm looking for, right? We've got our vertical asymptote, we've got our horizontal asymptote, and then we've got the hole, okay? So on this graph, there are 3 points of discontinuity, right? Points of discontinuity. All right. Continuity is when things are sort of together. Discontinuity is when things are apart. So usually, we're used to seeing graphs where it's like this, right? Where the whole graph exists. There's no break in the graph, right? Even when we did parabolas, right? No break in the graph. This graph does have a break. It's got a vertical asymptote there, so one of our points of discontinuity is the vertical asymptote at x equals -5, okay? And then our other point of discontinuity is this hole right here, and that hole exists at the point 1, 0.5, okay? So there's a hole at 1, and then 1/2 is the y value for that hole. Okay.